5-pound back squat.
And away we go as we see if anybody can catch the time set by Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, 11 minutes, 23.87 seconds.
Brandon, right off the bat, we can see a bunch of different carrying styles, some just under the arm, some grabbing him by the vest itself. We've seen a few different styles work better for different ladies, different men, but right now, we've got a good, even race all the way across.
Nate Gilfadother dragging that rescue Randy that's 40 pounds heavier than she is, but it's Bethany Shadburn that's leading the way. And she'll have about a 5-second advantage over the rest of the field, making her way to the first of 2 rope climbs. On the way out of the stadium, the first climb with the thin rope, 3/4 in diameter. The second rope will be double that size, 1.5 inches wide.
And you can see she does a great job of using her legs to climb the rope, try to save the grip as much as possible. She brings those feet as high up to the knees and chest as she can get, taking up as much rope as possible with each pull.
For the leader, Bethany Shadburn, it's going to be an interesting test. 1 year ago, the first 4 events were a completely different story than the last 3 days of competition. First 4 events, she averaged a 13th place finish. The last 11, 21st place finish. So this will be a good test for Shadburn to see if that second year gives her a little bit more experience in how to handle the competition. As she leads the way by a good margin over the rest of the field. In fact, just now are they making the run back to the north side for second and third, as it's China Cho in second and Rebecca Voigt in third.
Well, Brandon, even though the O course is very similar to what it was last year, we're doing things a little bit differently. This time we've got a vest. This time we're going to do a bunch of work before and after the O course. It's not a sprint. That just shows the evolution of the way this event has come together and the way the CrossFit Games continues to evolve over time.
Top 3 separating themselves from that pack that you saw exiting the stadium a moment ago. But out in front, it looks a lot like it did in heat number 1, where we've got a lot of separation between the top 3.
That's a gigantic lead, and one of the things that we need to be aware of is the pacing on the run. If you hustle, some of the ladies that are in second, third, fourth position, if they try to close up this gap, it could really hurt them in the O course because they're going to be sucking wind the whole time.
Event leader Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, whose time is 11 minutes 23.87 seconds. She got through the O course at about 8 minutes and 5 seconds, doing so in the second position. As you can see, a wide margin from first place, Bethany Shadburn, all the way on the far left side of the screen to China Cho, who's highlighted in second. And then we've got 5 athletes really within about 5 seconds of each other in that race for third.
And you can see she's got those arms straight, trying to spare the grip, relax the arms, make the blood flow, bring everything back to normal so that she can get through the O course without too much of a problem.
Onto the hurdles for Shadburn, and this is going to be the familiar part for her that she's very happy to see with her success 1 year ago on the O course. That's the first we've seen that one grabbing a little bit of sand.
That's a veteran move right there. You put a little bit of sand on the hands. Maybe her hands were a little sweaty. That puts a little grit so that she can grab that rope.
Struggling to get across the top of the wall, but she does do so. Still holds a good lead as she makes her way through the rope wall. And next up will be the low net, followed by the cargo net. And how about this pack behind her? 7-way race for second through 8th. As China Cho trying to hold off everybody in this heat, aside from Bethany Shadburn, who's well ahead of that. Now, this might be the first time we see something come into play, as some of these obstacles, we have a field of 10, there's only 5 of the obstacles, so I'll be curious to see if that logjam effect happens on some of those choke points in this O course.
Yeah, we talked about this in the warm-ups, you and I, Brandon, just if there was going to be a bottleneck, where was it going to happen? But the likelihood was pretty low because we thought there'd be more spread out throughout the run.
Now, the scary thing there with that pack being so big is if you're Bethany Shadburn and you have a mistake on one of those choke point obstacles, you could find yourself going from first all the way back to ninth pretty easily.
She did a great job. Accuracy was really on point. No mistakes so far.
Hop logs, no problem, as she makes her way to the back half of the O course, starting with the rope transfer. Justine B, you might want to keep an eye on this as you have to complete the O course. That is the minimum work requirement, and she's still making her way up the rope wall, which is the second obstacle. So going from last back out in front, Bethany Shadburn through the rope transfer. And all that's left is the rope swing followed by the monkey bars. And she's got nothing but daylight in front of her at this point once she gets past the O-course final two movements. And they're touching the sand, so she's got to go back to the start. And thankfully for her, she's far enough ahead of that pack that this won't be too costly in terms of positions. Doing a much better job the second time.
Little attention to detail. She might have had just a little bobble there. No big deal. She has lots and lots of room out in front.
This gigantic lead. Keep in mind, any of these hanging elements on the obstacle course, just picture that the floor is lava. If you touch the sand, you got to go back to the start. And no more of that left for Bethany Shadburn. Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, the current event leader, was through the O-course at about 8:05, make it 90 seconds quicker for Shadburn.
Moving really efficiently. I like the tempo of her run. Just has a very comfortable lead, and as an athlete, as a competitor, that's such a great position to be in.
Race for second might be a pick-em, but out in front at the moment for that spot is Rebecca Voigt, making her record-sharing with Ben Smith, 10th Open Division appearance at the Games. And this lead is only getting bigger for Bethany Shadburn. But keep in mind, still 2 heats remain after this one, so she's not just racing the other 9 athletes in this heat.
Every now and then we can see her shake out the arms, try to straighten the arms out, shake the hands out completely. Anybody who's ever done that CrossFit benchmark, Helen, knows what that's all about, where you go out onto your third 400-meter run and your arms are completely blown out and you try to run with them at your sides just to get that blood flow back.
So Shadburn out in front, just that reminder, the minimum work requirement in this event is completing the O course. So we've got about 7 women working on the monkey bar portion of this in that race for second, third, really every position in this heat, minus the back couple. And this might be very, very interesting in that race for second to 8th when we get back to the North Park Stadium. But for Bethany Shadburn, she continues to dominate this event. She's led it since the very beginning, but that wasn't something that worked out well for Jennifer Smith when she got back to the stadium. She was in a similar position with a large lead and a wire-to-wire lead.
Similar position is right. They both got to the, she got to the Randy with a gigantic lead, and you could see her struggle to pick it up and make her way across the floor, and she was able to get past with just a couple seconds left.
As Bethany Shadburn makes her way back to the stadium and the ropes, let's go to Mike Arsenault. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. Apologies about that, as Bethany Shadburn continuing to lead on the left-hand side of the screen. She makes her way up the thicker of the 2 ropes, really the more challenging of the 2 ropes, obviously. That's double the size of this thinner rope that she'll make her way up. Still 2 minutes until the time to beat of 11 minutes and 23 seconds.
Brandon, I love the way she's moving. Everything is so deliberate. It's so well thought out. There's not a mistake. There's not a misstep anywhere in this, except for that the rope transfer. The whole run has been absolutely perfect.
nobody else is even in the stadium yet when it comes to the athletes in this heat, and Bethany Shadburn is already back to rescue Randy, and she'll have the 132-foot drag of the 165-pound dummy. And checking back in on Justine Beath, who might be seeing her weekend come to an end, as she is in severe danger of not meeting the minimum work requirement. She's been at the rope wall for a good 6 minutes. But in the meantime, it's a completely different story for Bethany Shadburn. 44 feet remains. Got to get all of the Rescue Randy training dummy into the blue portion of the end zone and then cross the line. And Bethany Shadburn out of Cedar Park, Texas will do just that. She'll lead the way at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Now the race for second is between a handful of athletes. See, Ig Gilfadottir involved, Meredith Root involved in lane number 6. She's onto the thinner rope. And what a weekend for Meredith Root, that 2 weeks ago she wasn't even supposed to be here. She got in after disqualifications came from the regional level. So the alternate having a pretty solid showing this weekend in her debut appearance at the games.
Well, Brandon, I'd be really curious to know, like, what happened with her nutrition right after the regionals, like how that all came together. So good on her for keeping things on track and being able to come out and compete.
So the race for second playing out as we get ready for heat number 3, which will be coming up very, very quickly as we hit the final 30 seconds here in event number 5.